Happy Thursday to you, webheads, and welcome to another episode of The Worthy Ones. That's right, guys. This is the video series where I take the new #1 comic books of the week that I read and deem them worthy or not worthy. So hopefully you guys enjoying this series. We got 4 books to talk about this week, so let's kick this bad boy off. The first one we're going to talk about today is an Indiegogo project that was just released on Monday. This is Shroud. This is issue 1, written by Chad Larson. This is an oversized book. If you want to purchase this book, like I said, go on to Indiegogo. You gotta love the cover here, as it's an homage to Venom issue 1. There's lots of variant covers done by top tier artists like Brett Booth, like Ryan Stegman. Great stuff here, guys. This is definitely like a Spawn type of book where we get to see this soldier who got into a horrific accident and then all of a sudden he finds himself changed into which is known as the Death Shroud. Now, who is Death Shroud? Well, he's actually a character that is Death's son. So he's half human and like half supernatural being from death. And why did death create life? Well, you'll find that out in this actual book. It's also a story that has to deal with heaven and hell, and we get to see the forces of the universe want this character dead. Now, Death Shroud is a pretty awesome looking character as he has this gun that defeats these demons. So cool, and you get to learn, obviously, the backstory of this character. His real name is John, and it's good, man. I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. The artwork is awesome in it. And I would love to see at issue 2. It's an oversized book that contains chapters 1 and chapters 2. And definitely worth the read. If this was on the stands today, I would definitely pick this one up. So at the end of the day, I gotta deem this one worthy. Alright, so if you're thinking about a grade, I gotta give this one probably a B-. I thought it was a really good read. I loved reading the backstory of the character. The universe could get a little bit confusing. I could see that, and I can see it I can maybe see it where people are saying, you know what, this is a Spawn ripoff. But I think it has enough of its own origin story to survive on its own. Okay, so here we go. Wasp Issue 1. I wound up getting the variant cover in case the story was not good. At least I had that great variant, right? So this book came out just in time for the new Ant-Man movie that's getting ready to be released. So it gets people maybe a little bit hyped about Janet, right? We also get to learn a little bit about Nadia in this issue as well. When it comes to the artwork, I thought the artwork was serviceable. I thought it did its job in telling its story. There were some good facial expressions in there. There were some interesting flashbacks in there as well. And also, you get to see some crazy ass, like, I don't know, if you guys seen Spaceballs, this guy reminds me of like Pizza the Hut, except he's like gamma radiated and he's got claws. So we got to see that as well. So this book had a lot of talking heads in it as you get to learn a lot of history between Nadia and Janet and how her dad died and how Nadia's grandfather died, and we kind of get to see what everyone is doing right now. We get to see Janet talking with Jarvis in the issue, and there's just all kinds of stuff going on here. And then the action picks up a little bit when Whirlwind makes his appearance, and out of nowhere he starts wanting to kill Janet. Like, he's over obsessive about her, and we kind of don't know why he is attacking her, but he is being kind of mind control. And we do get to see Janet be a little bit dark, going, you need to stay away from me or I'm gonna, go into my miniature size. I'm gonna, fly into your ear canal and I'm gonna give you an aneurysm. And he's just like, trust me, I don't want to do this, but I'm being controlled and blah, 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 blah. And the fight just seemed uneventful, and I get where they were trying to go with it because it's leading to the main enemy of the title. But everything that led up to it, I was like, okay, we're learning a history about the granddad. We learned a history about the father. We learned about this. We learned about Nadia, of what's going on with her. And then we find out that this gamma radiated Pizza the Hut type of creature, which we thought was dead, is actually not dead at all. And we find out that, yes, the creature is controlled by, which looks like Nadia's granddad. So I was like, oh. I was like, okay, I mean, who cares? I didn't find the main enemy in this title interesting at all. He's a blobby, gamma-rated thing that if you look at it, you'll die instantly. So I was like, all right, maybe the next issue will be better. Maybe I'll check it out. But I wasn't blown away at this at all. I was actually quite bored with it. It took forever to get to the point that it needed. The fight with Whirlwind was just very slow. And so, I don't know, I'm on the fence about this issue or the next issue as well. So I think I'm gonna deem this book not worthy. And if I had to give this one a grade, I gotta give this one a C-. It was very average, just slightly below average for me. And like I said, I'll be on the fence if I'm gonna pick this one up again. Here we go. We're talking about DC Universe Lazarus Planet Assault on Krypton. After I realized what the Lazarus Planet was and how to follow it, I was like, all right, well, there's going to be a bunch of one-shots. There's going to be a lot of short stories in these one-shots. Is it worth it? Now, this book is a $5 book. It follows the Superman family and what's going on with them during the whole Lazarus event, right? And this book has to deal with Kara, it has to do with John, it has to do with Power Girl, and it has to do with Mercy Graves, which is the bodyguard of Lex Luthor, which that story was the best story in the whole thing. You open up this book here with Batman going through some MRI to make sure he's okay, and this says it takes place during Lazarus Planet Alpha. So is this like before he transformed? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I didn't understand it because out of his dreams comes the character by the name of Dreamer. Is this a character we've never seen before? I've never heard of her before. And so she comes out of Batman's dreams and she's tasked to get Dr. Fate's actual helmet here. So you get to see her go into these dreams. She taps into Dr. Fate's mind while he's dreaming. She somehow gets this helmet, and you see her pop out of a Lazarus pit at the end. So is she like the new Dr. Fate? I don't know. I was a little bit confused when I was reading this particular issue or this particular story in this issue. So I was like, okay, and it says only the beginning. So that's where that leaves off. Right? And I don't know where that continues going forward. Next, we get another story with John, who comes across a thief, and they wind up getting new powers as well. So this thief winds up becoming like freaking Lava Boy, and he has volcanic powers. John gets a electrified cape, and he can't wear the cape. And so what happens is they got to put it in a storage container, I guess because he got wet or whatever it is, I don't know. And they go out and they try to do good in the city. And once they were done doing all their little good deeds, John was still going to put this pickpocket or this thief in jail. And he's like, I'll put a good word for you in. And then, maybe at the end of this all, we'll all go hang out and eat dinner. Well, after that, once he puts him in jail, the kid winds up breaking out of the jail, and then he steals John's cape. So you're like, okay. All right. So now we're going to get like a volcanic, electrified Superman. So and this continues in in Adventures of Superman John Kent issue 1. So it was okay. I mean, it was entertaining. The artwork was pretty good in that story. So nothing spectacular. So the next story that we have in this book is actually by far, for me, the best story offered here. This took place in LexCorp Tower in Metropolis, as you get to see the weather phenomenon going on because of the Lazarus volcano. And Lex is like, the weather's getting worse outside. And Mercy Graves is like a bodyguard, most trusted associate to Lex Luthor. All of a sudden what happens is the phenomenon just basically goes through the windows of LexCorp and affects Mercy Graves, and the electricity or whatever hits her against Lex's battle suit, and then she develops these different types of powers. She got mortally wounded in the issue, and all of a sudden she finds herself self-repairing herself. So she becomes like this cyborg, this like Terminator, where she can develop weapons on thought, and she can defeat anything and everything. And you get a little description of how she is now and her weaponry and stuff like that. And so now she just basically got an upgrade from being human to robot. And I thought that was actually cool. Like, I would want to see more of that character, how she can aid Lex Luthor even more, or even become her own villain going forward. So I thought that was really cool. And then you get this Power Girl story. This one's written by Leah Williams, and this one was just weird. It was like all over the place. Like, Power Girl's having some weird thoughts, and she doesn't know what's going on. Her mind is going crazy. Then she winds up finding out that she's talking to this particular character through telekinesis. So now Power Girl is some type of Jean Grey, where she can talk to you through her mind. She's like a Professor X type of character. I didn't like the artwork so much in that book. I didn't like the story. It was actually the smallest story, I think, out of the bunch, and I was just like, okay. And so this one is to be continued in Lazarus Planet Omega. So, and in Action Comics issue 1051. So, yeah, I mean, again, bunch of short stories, right? So, at the end of the day, I'm going to deem this book not worthy. It's not worth your hard-earned cash for $5 to get a bunch of short stories. If you really want to know what's going on with all the characters here, I would say pick this up. But for a grade as a comic, I gotta give this one a C. It was just there. You know, there's gonna be some stories that are great, and there's gonna be some that are not so great. So when you average it all out, yes, it comes to a C. I don't think you have to read this. Just read the ones that you might be interested, that follows your favorite DC characters. I guess that's what I can say about Lazarus Planet one-shots. So the next book we're talking about is Barbaric Issue 1. This is Volume 3, titled Hell to Pay. Now, this book is a lot of fun. If you've never read it before, it's about this barbarian who was cursed with this axe right here, who lusts for blood. Now, the only person that can hear this axe actually speak is Owen himself, and this is a very vulgar book, and so the axe is very vulgar. It's hilarious. He lusts for blood. He gets drunk off of the blood. It's so violent. Now, the thing I can say about this is, if you can, try to find volumes 1 and 2 to get the full appreciation of this story. You will not be disappointed with it. You'll laugh your ass off. So, the artwork in this book is actually really good too, as it's very dark, it's very fantasy-like. It kind of fits that like barbarian style of artwork, if that makes any sense. But it's a great book when it comes to character growth as well. We get introduced to characters like Soren right here, and this character here, his name is Steel. She is a sorceress or witch that assists Owen, and we have Steel, who is a former, well, he is a vampire, and he's been cursed by Dracula himself, and they killed Dracula in the last issue, but he's still a vampire, and he's afraid that he would actually, as he changes into a beast when he battles, he's afraid he's not going to turn back to human. So that's quite interesting too. Learning about Soren's story was a lot of fun, and she has current possession of the axe right now, because supposedly Owen died in the last issue and has went to hell, and she's been granted the powers of the axe. So learning the backstory of these characters is really what makes this book the solid title that it actually is. So our heroes are trying to get to Owen and find out any information on how they can bring him back. They come across a resistance like these trolls or whatnot. She knows who Owen is. She realizes that Owen's not around and she's wielding the axe. So what's going on? So she's trying to give them an ultimatum, to give them information, because she knows where Owen is and stuff like that. And then at the end of the book, you wind up seeing where Owen is in hell. And yeah, you get artwork like this. I mean, so well done, man. Really great stuff. I gotta deem this book worthy. This is a very entertaining book. I loved every single volume. Grading it, I gotta give it a B, because if you dive into this book from this first issue, you're gonna be a little bit lost. You're not gonna have the true appreciation of the characters. So that's why, like I stressed earlier, you have to buy that first volume to really appreciate everything that is going on in this book. And once you do, you will love it. It is so much fun. So this week wasn't a huge week when it came to new number ones being released, but stay tuned to next week, as there are some huge number ones getting ready to come out, and there's some thick books too. So hopefully you guys will tune in to another episode of Worthy Ones. If you guys love my content, I'm going to leave you more content right here. In fact, this is all the comic books I picked up for a new comic book day. And of course, guys, as always, keep buying, keep collecting, but most importantly, always read your comics. Guys, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.